is in Lagos tonight. He covered that event earlier in the nation's commercial center. Uche, do we understand precisely what this particular law, licensing fee, is all about? How much precisely, places of worship are required to pay before joining people in marriage?
Well, places of worship are expected to pay the sum of 30,000 naira as registration fee to be registered by the Ministry of Interior, that's the Federal Ministry of Interior, to carry out these statutory marriages. Now, that's 30,000 naira for registration fee. After that, the couples who are intending to be joined at these designated centers, places of worship, would now be required to pay the sum of 21,000 naira for the certificate. So now the government is saying that upon the payment of 30,000 naira registration fee by the places of worship, 25 copies of the marriage certificate will now be handed over to these churches for the sum of 2,500 naira. Thereafter, intending couples will now be required to pay the sum of 21,000 naira to get those certificates from these places of worship that have been registered. So that's a bit of the directive that has been released by the Ministry of Interior. Now, the civil society organizations are saying that this is a very huge financial burden that the ministry is placing on the churches, who in turn will transfer that financial burden to the masses who would approach them for with their intentions to be joined. So this is the the grievance that the civil society organizations are having with this particular policy that has been announced by the Ministry of Interior. They're saying the timing at this particular point in time is wrong, and not, of course, they've also raised questions about the legality of it as well.
Uche, so love has become a little bit more expensive now in Nigeria, especially if you're planning to get married. Help us understand what the situation was before this new initiative and how much it cost places of worship to have organized events like this.
Well, a lot of it is more common for persons who have intentions to have their marriages registered and recognized by the government to approach local government councils, because that, of course, the Ministry of Interior do not have marriage registries that are accessible to all and sundry. For instance, in a place like maybe Rivers State that has 23 local government areas, and Lagos as well, the marriage registries are not accessible to everybody at the nook and cranny. So majority of persons who eventually want to get married by law end up approaching the local councils and the local governments. Now, the government is saying that henceforth those certificates will not be recognized. But prior to this time, to the best of my knowledge, people who have been approached these local governments to get married have been required to part with the sum of, I think, between the sum of 15,000 and 18,000 naira. So that has been the financial burden on intending couples in the past.
I think you are lucky to have gotten married earlier. We need to wait and see how all of this will play out. Uche Okoro is in Lagos. Thank you for talking to us tonight.